Everybody, Jay and Manion here at the NPC Photo Gym, and no, your eyes are not deceiving you. I have the only 4-time Men's Physique Olympia champion standing right next to me, Jeremy Buendia. Jeremy, welcome to the new gym.
It's nice to be back. It's been a long time. Definitely has.
Yeah.
Facility looks great. Definitely a step up from the last one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so the main question everybody wants to know is, why now?
Man, why now? It's been 5 years since my last Olympia, since I competed. I had to go through a lot of growing pains the past 5 years to get back to this point where I'm at right now, where mentally and physically, I've had to do a lot of growing up in order to get me back into the right mindset to be able to compete again. I've made an attempt back in 2020 to make my way back to the stage, but there were just some factors that didn't allow me to do it. And, getting married and having a kid definitely changes a lot of things, changes your perspective on life, brings a lot of value to your life, and a lot of motivation. So now at this point in time in my life, I think I'm going to be able to bring my best, have a more mature physique, a more mature mindset, and I'm excited to get back up there and show the world that I still have it.
And how old are you now?
I'll be 33 coming up here in October, so I'll be 33 stepping on stage this year.
You're so old.
I feel like it. My first.
Did you first started competing?
This is my 10th year as a pro. The Olympia was the very first Olympia was in 2013. It's been 10 years. It's crazy how time has flown by.
Yeah, it has.
Yeah, it really has.
Yeah, and we've known each other for pretty much that whole time.
Yeah, a little bit longer than that, actually. Yeah. Since I was 19 years old, it was my first NPC show back in 2010.
Geez, now you're making me feel old. Thanks.
It really has gone by fast. And, the older I get, especially having a kid, seeing how much quicker time goes by. It feels like it was yesterday my little girl was born, and now she's almost 2.5 years old, running around talking, and it's just...
Putting makeup on.
Putting makeup on. Yeah, shit. Putting makeup on, getting the plane dress up. She wants to be a doctor already, so I got to start saving up for med school. I'm already getting that planned out. But yeah, man, it's been a very interesting last 5 years for myself. The last few years have been an absolute blessing. Marrying my wife and having our daughter, moving back up to Northern California, closer to our parents and our family. It's just... it just changes me. It changed me. And I think a lot of you guys knew that I had a rough exit to the NPC and IFBB last time in 2018. And I went through a lot of difficulties in my life. And, there's just a certain point in time you got to grow up and you got to make changes and recognize the things you did in the past weren't the way you want to portray yourself in the future. I have a family and a daughter I represent now. I want my daughter to be able to look back, be proud of the man her dad was. Yeah.
So your wife's from Western Pennsylvania, her family, right?
Her father's side of the family is. Yeah, we both grew up in the same town. We've known each other since we were like 8 years old. She was actually my Pee Wee football cheerleader, and we went to high school together. And we've known each other a long time.
That's great.
Yeah, her family's out here in Pittsburgh, and I haven't met that side of the family yet, but I'm sure it's gonna happen soon.
Yeah. So you got smart. You got somebody from over here
yeah.
With roots.
Yeah, absolutely. Got a good old Italian family.
So, all right. So, we see what you do on social media and stuff, and you've kept yourself active. That's one thing. You have kept yourself in the public, and there's always been, whispers about you coming back. And then I saw you start getting a little more involved this year, doing like the interviews with the Olympia TV and stuff like that, which I told you, I said, congratulations for handling yourself like a professional on that, I said, I think a lot of people were surprised because I think they're expecting kind of the old Jeremy.
Yeah. And I know a lot of people are expecting that, want to expect that. I know there's a lot of excitement that came from, the short fuse Jeremy and, kind of saying whatever's on my mind. But, like I said, perspective changes and there's just a better way of going about things and how to handle yourself as a champion. And, coming back to this sport, I want to be able to win again and be the champion and represent the sport the way it needs to be represented and be an ambassador that can motivate and fuel the other athletes that are coming up to be their best. And I know the way I was acting before, it wasn't the best example. And as I get older and I see kids making the same mistakes I do, I try to tell them to pump the brakes a little bit because, you just learn a lot as you get older. We're young and dumb in our 20s. And, now that I'm in my 30s, it's just taking a step back and looking at the way things were before. It's just not the way I want to be now as a grown man.
Yeah, I remember one time a few years ago, somebody said that your life going through this almost looked like a reality show.
It was a lot, and it kind of felt like that being on social media all the time. Everything was very public. My past relationships were very public, and you get that influence. You get kind of sucked into social media, kind of wanting to entertain people. You kind of get trapped with the likes and the engagement, and you start living your life in that direction. And I did that for a few years, and it doesn't, when you're living for other people, not yourself, it just sucks the energy out of you. Yeah. And ultimately it's going to lead you to a place that's not your true self. And, reality hit me really hard, and it humbled me really hard. So being able to take a step back, like I said, I keep saying taking a step back, because that's what I had to do. I really had to take a step back and reflect on the way things are going, and also find the right woman, have the right woman in my life. My wife has been nothing but a support system for me and helping me become the man I am today. And I'm just very thankful and blessed to be back here with you guys.
Well, I'll say this to be totally transparent. We've known each other a long time. Jeremy and I have always had where we could sit down and we could just talk about, like today you were talking about, remember Tyler and Cassie in like high school. Yeah, but we could talk about anything, a lot of stuff outside of the sport. So a lot of stuff that I saw was happening. A lot of times I would question myself, like, well, he's never like that around me, But I think I won't say the real you, but I mean, I knew what you had in you. I always did,
I appreciate that, man. And that is the real me. But like I said, towards the end of my reign as Olympia champion, a lot of things got to my head. I started doing really well financially. I had a lot of people coming in and out of my life, and feeding ideas into my head. And I was trying to fast track my success and do certain things or live a certain lifestyle that wasn't who I really am. And people can see through that really easily. And I'm grateful that I went through the things I went through, because if I hadn't, I probably wouldn't. If I didn't go through those things, I probably have been acting the same way, making the same mistakes. I probably wouldn't be my wife. I probably wouldn't have a daughter right now. And
probably wouldn't be standing here.
Probably wouldn't be standing here. I know I wouldn't be standing here if I didn't make some changes. That's for sure.
Well, funny story is Tyler had just done that video on Men's Physique, and he had mentioned you in it, right? And so this is like the day after it came out. And I called him, I go, you'll never believe who I was just talking with. And he's like, who? And I go, Jeremy. He's like, Jeremy who? Who? And I go, Jeremy, Mr. 4-time Olympia. He goes, no way.
That's awesome, man. I haven't seen Tyler. Actually, I saw him at Olympia last year. That was the first time. That was the first time I came back around in almost 4 years. So it was nice to see him. The sport's changed a lot. It's evolved a lot. So the past few years I've been hearing, I fell out of shape. I stopped training for a while. I dealt with a lot of injuries, and I fell behind big time. So the last couple of years I've been hearing, the sport's passed me up. It's evolved too much. I wasn't be able to hang with these guys in the size. And, that's kind of what kept me away from the stage up until recently. And, the past year I've really been back on my training, packing on the size again, and catching back up to where these guys are, to a point where I can be competitive again. And, ultimately my goal is to be competitive with Aaron and Brandon for the title this year. And we've done a good job of, getting myself back to where I'm at right now. And now we're here 16 weeks out from the 2023 Olympia. And I'm here just to find out what you guys want from me and what type of physique you want me to bring to the stage, especially with the new weight requirements that'll be coming out next year. I know we'll be scaling the division back a little bit. And it's going to be interesting because I've worked really hard to get my size up. So I'm going to be interested to hear what Tyler has to say, how much size he wants me to bring to the stage, and, what look he's going to be going for.
Right. Now, yesterday, in my opinion, you told me this story. It's almost like you got a little sign of coming back. So tell people about when you got to your Airbnb yesterday.
Yeah, literally the moment I walked into my Airbnb, I walked into the kitchen. Wadi was already in there. He's like, I was like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I'm just watching this guy get his hair done outside. I look outside. I'm like, man, that guy looks really familiar. He goes, that looks like Ray, doesn't it? I was like, you know what? Look at that tattoo on his arm. And I go on to Raymond Edmonds. I go onto his Instagram, and I'm like, that is Ray. Look at his tattoo. I go up, poke my head out the window. Ray. He's like, who is that? I'm like, it's Jeremy. He goes, what the heck are you doing out here? I'm like, I'm here for nationals, baby. So you got to come over and say what's up. So I think Ray's going to stop by tonight and chop it up with me. But it was good to see him. I haven't seen Ray. Yeah, it's been probably since 2018 Olympia, to be honest. That was probably the last time I seen him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, when Ray won, he said it was now a tall man's game.
I am not a tall man. No, I mean, it's interesting, Aaron currently, I was out with him in 6 weeks ago out in Arizona and training with them. They're tall dudes. Aaron's like 6'2", 6'2.5". But then again, we got, Brandon around 5'9". We got Diogo, same height as me. It's gonna be very interesting to see how things shake out this year. And, what I've seen happen is there's kind of like a median of the class that's in that top call out. And, if we got 5 out of the 6 guys in that top call out that are under 5'10", Aaron's going to stick out like a sore thumb, and maybe he'll get pushed out. Maybe he won't. We'll see. But all I can control is bringing the best package for myself. And I plan on doing that. Like I said, I'm a lot more mature. My last Olympia, I won at 26 years old. That was my last Olympia in 2017 that I won. And for those of you guys in your 30s, you guys know how much our physique changes as you get into your 30s. Your muscle gets more mature. And I packed on a lot of size, a lot of quality tissue. And, conditioning has never really been an issue for me. I haven't done it in 5 years. I haven't gotten in shape in 5 years. But having the coach that I have in Alan Watkins, I know that we're going to be able to nail the conditioning next 16 weeks. And it's going to be exciting. It's being completely new and improved Jeremy Buendia. And I'm going to be doing everything I can to get the title back and hang with the best in the world again. Well,
because they've watched you on social media, a lot of people thought you were jumping to Classic Physique.
Yeah, no, it's not happening. I deal with a lot of injuries. I got a bad neck. I got a bad lower back, especially with the weight requirements for men's physique. I've cut back on my leg training. I've always been bottom heavy. So in order for me to fit in that weight category that's coming up next year, I got to make sure that I bring my weight down. And one way for me to do that is to limit my leg training. And if I'm doing that, then obviously that's going to push Classic out for me a few years if that's something I consider to do. Ultimately I compete to win, and bumps at the top of the Classic Physique. That's a long shot, and to be able to beat that guy. So I don't think I'll be stepping on Classic Physique stage.
Yeah. And plus, if you got that.
Terrence did pretty good against them for all those years. Yeah. Terrence is a smaller guy than me. Terrence is unbelievable, great physique on him. But like I said, Chris is undeniable right now. It's going to be really hard for anybody to beat that guy.
So are you thinking of coming back this year, next year? This is what I got so many people that I see asking these questions. So
my plan is to come back this year. That's why I came out here. I want to talk to you guys and see what Tyler has to say. If he thinks I'm going to be ready in time in 4 months to get on stage. But mentally, I've been preparing for this the last 6 months of planning to get on stage here in November. And I've been working really hard. It's the hardest I've been working in the past 5 years. And I'm just really proud of myself to be able to get back on the diet, have consistency, being able to change my physique again, because there was a certain time a few years ago that I tried doing this and I wasn't mentally there in order to do it. I couldn't stick to it.
I think having a stable, normal life is helped.
Yeah,
normal meaning outside of the bodybuilding world.
Yeah, and my life's completely changed now that I'm a father and a husband. I don't go out anymore. My fun is hanging out on a Friday, Saturday night with my daughter and my wife, watching TV on Netflix or something, making dinner. That's the excitement of my life right there, and that's all I want. That's all that I need. And it just changes, It does. It really does. When you're not having those outside distractions, you're not going out and pissing your weekends away. You're able to focus a lot more.
Yeah, and listen to all the chatter out there.
There's always going to be chatter out there, but I've done a lot better job of being able to tune it out and not respond. If they're talking, if I put it this way, if they're talking about me, then they're keeping me relevant, and I'm doing something right.
Yeah, well, that's good. I think it's good because I've let several people know that you were going to be here. Everyone's really excited, to be honest with you. And then I'm talking people in the industry. I'm talking other competitors. They're the ones that are asking me the questions to ask you. So. Yeah, everyone's pretty excited that, a lot of people were hoping you were going to come back this year. They were thinking, they're like, he's not going to come here and tell us we're not going to see him until next year. So that's why I had to ask you.
Yeah, I'll be on stage. If everything plays out right, I stay healthy. I'll be on stage in November, battling out the best of them again. I'm excited.
Yeah. So where are you training out there in California?
I moved back up to Rocklands, where my hometown. I'm outside of Sacramento, about 20 minutes. I bounce around for a few gyms. My friend's got a private gym called Jack Culture I work out of. Waddy Watkins is my coach and trainer. I've known Alan since my pro debut back in 2013. We met out on a flight over to New Orleans. We sat next to each other. That's how we met. We've been close friends ever since. Alan would actually come to my room before every Olympia and pray with me before my Olympias. So we've had a really good, strong bond. And even through the difficult times that I've had, Waddy was always there for me, always checking up on me, making it all right. And for me, having a coach, it's about that support system, that relationship, because for me, this sport's very mental, and being able to keep my mind strong is very important during these preps. And having a coach like Waddy who understands that and is there for me, checking up on my mental health, making sure that I'm staying disciplined and staying sharp in the mind, that's very important for me. A lot of people were wondering why I didn't go back to Hani and everything like that. Hani and I, although I love that man, we had a falling out, and things didn't. Basically, it was my fault. And that really, we weren't going to be able to work together in the future. But that's one thing that Hani brought to the table as my coach was being a friend first and being there for me emotionally, mentally. And that's what I was looking forward to this time around. And Waddy is able to bring that to the table for me.
Sounds good. I mean, it sounds like you've got everything kind of like where you need it to be at this point. Absolutely. And as long as I've known you, I think there was always a bump in the road somewhere. But right now, it seems like everything's smooth, right?
Yeah, everything's right where it needs to be. Life is good, and I've been happy, and I'm just looking forward to climbing back up that mountain.
Yeah. So referencing back to whenever we were going back and forth on the phone, I was shocked that you still had the same number because so many people changed numbers because it came up on my phone.
I've had that number since I was 12 years old. That's one cell phone number I've had my whole life. My wife is always like, "You got to change your number." I'm like, "Yeah, I probably should." Yeah, we'll see. I like my phone number.
Yeah, it popped up, and I'm like looking at my phone going, really? Yeah. So you're going to be staying here this week for the Teen Collegiate Masters Nationals. You said you have a couple people in the show?
I have a buddy that's going to be doing the men's physique. I train with him a couple times a week. So I'm out here to support him. Waddy's got like 16 or 17 clients competing.
You couldn't get 20? What the hell?
I don't know what's wrong with it. But yeah, I haven't been out here. I ran into Gary yesterday at the hotel. It was nice. I haven't seen him in 4 or 5 years. Yeah. I'm sure I'm going to see a lot of faces out here that I haven't seen in a while. So it's exciting to be back and a part and, for people to be as welcoming as they are. I didn't know what to expect coming back after so long, especially after the way I left. And it's been nice to see how everybody's been responsive and welcoming back with open arms. I ran into Sandy and Ted Williamson and Kimoto at the airport yesterday when I was flying out from Sacramento. And we had a nice little conversation, gave them all a hug, and excited to get back out there. I miss everybody. I miss being a part of it. I spent all of my 20s doing this and building something within the industry. And it's been a hard and lonely road the last few years of not being a part of it, because I've invested so much of my time to build this part of my life up in my career in this sport. And I'm back home, it feels like.
Yeah. So do you have any contracts with any companies yet?
Yeah, I've got a handful of sponsors. I'm working with Swiss Nutrition out of Turkey. I've been with Vanquish Clothing for, on and off since 2015.
I was gonna say, that was forever.
Yeah, they're awesome. I just re-signed with them recently. Flex Pro Meals, I'm my meal sponsor, and then Transcend HRT. They've been nothing but great to me the last few years. My sponsors have really had my back. They have a lot of belief in me. Even when, last year when I signed up with everybody, I didn't even compete last year. My physique wasn't even back yet. And they all had the belief that I was going to be able to do this. So I appreciate all my sponsors for supporting me the way they have. And I look forward to showing out this November and showing everybody I still got it.
All right. So is there anybody else that you want to give a shout out to while we're here?
There's a lot of people, man. But my parents, for one, they've been with me through thick and thin. They're the ones that are instilling this champion mindset in me once again. And, I talked to my dad and my mom a few weeks ago, and, my body's been hasn't been 100%. I'm dealing with some injuries, kind of doubted myself a little bit. And my mom was like, "Hey, remember who you are. You're a Buendia. When you compete to win. I don't want to hear any second or third place or fourth place come out of your mouth. When you get on that stage, you do it for one reason. You're going to step off that stage as a champion." And to hear my mom say that, my mom doesn't really, she's always been very supportive, but it's usually my dad that's doing the talking. And to hear my mom come out of her shell and be like, "Hey, you're a champion. You better believe it." It kind of sparked that all back within me. Same with my wife. My wife is just every step of the way. She's been there to support me. And, I didn't have my family around or my wife back when I was competing before. I moved down to Southern California, didn't have my family around me, didn't have the best relationship with them. And being back home around them and seeing them regularly and having that relationship blossom again, and to have them support me the way they are going to this prep, it means a lot to me. And I'm not just doing this for myself, I'm doing it for my family too.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. I love to hear this, because like I said, we've had a lot of talks over the years, and as soon as I saw you today, I could just see the difference in your face. You looked content. You looked happy.
I know who I am now. There's a lot of figuring myself out in my 20s. I wasn't very secure of myself, trying to kind of just figure out where I fit in and who I was. And, being able to take a step back, like I've been keep repeating to myself, being able to look back and the life that I've created for myself now in my 30s, I'm blessed to be able to be where I'm at. God's had my back through the thick and thin, and I'm just trusting his plan for me right now. And, his plan's always greater than ours. And I just got to keep reminding myself that on a daily basis that, and trusting his plan for me and trusting in God's work that I'm going to be all right.
All right. Well, Jay and Manion.
Jeremy Buendia.
Signing out for NPCNewsOnline.com. And we will see you when Jeremy gets back on stage.